happened to Steve Miller? Steve Miller bag. God. It's long been known that Melbourne is the country's capital of creativity, culture and class. Will I repeat that? So is it any wonder women from the north are flocking south in search of Melbourne's creative, cultured and classy men?
Yes, and keep those emails coming in to David. According to our next guests, there's a man drought in Sydney.
No.
So they decided to do something about it. An interstate blind date. We spoke to them before their dates.
It's the whole European vibe and that kind of thing, the cosy little wine bars.
The little laneways getting lost.
Little hidden secrets all over the city that...
It just really lends to sort of holding hands and running down the street.
The sort of thing that Sydney just doesn't have.
I think Melbourne men are
A little bit more relaxed than perhaps their Sydney counterparts are, which kind of just lets them be more creative.
in tune with sort of that urban landscape and how to live.
They're very cool dresses too, which is always nice.
It's going to be nerve-wracking standing there with the the lineup and being paired off. I think because all of us are just wanting to know who we're matched with.
Okay,
Yes, Glynis and Rachael are in today with their Melbourne men. Jason and Alex, good morning to you all.
Good morning. I could have asked you all of those questions, but you've answered them all. So thanks very much for coming. Were you at all nervous when approached to be involved in this?
Well, you heard about my nerves.
It was pretty nerve-wracking. It was like being at a debutante being matched up.
Totally.
Or something like that. It was nerve-wracking for a minute.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
For a minute.
More.
All right. Well, Rachael and Alex, let's talk about the date.
Well, it really started at the Dali exhibition, which was great because it was
At
sort
the
of...
National Gallery
yeah,
in Melbourne,
it was more than a double date. It was a queen date. We walked around the exhibition together, and it was really nice to have something to talk about. You know, we're talking about paintings and moving around. It was actually a good icebreaker.
Yeah.
And we did it all sort of together, and then we went back and sort of got ready for our dates, and so a lot of the stress and anticipation had died off by the time we all jumped in our cabs and off we went separately in our cars.
At what point were you matched up?
At the gallery.
And who
Straight
decided?
into
Who decided who?
There was a professional matchmaker.
Emma Kate Dobbin, who did a very great job, I think we all agree.
Yeah.
She did really well.
And so what sort of questions did you have to answer before you were...
Pages.
Oh, really?
Pages of
It was
questionnaires.
very funny. Who's your favourite male celebrity and why?
Yeah.
If your love life was a book, what would it be called?
What would it be?
Quite random.
So what was your answer?
It was funny.
I call mine the zing thing. One woman's search for that secret ingredient.
Oh. And
Mine was, what was I
Random.
thinking?
and you guys, were you asked the same questions?
Yeah, similar sort of questions, yeah. And I think from that they sort of build a profile and then sort of... I think meeting everyone beforehand as well, the matchmaker must have got an idea about personalities and then was able to, you know, pair everyone up. And I thought
And they
did a pretty
really
good job,
well.
yeah.
There were,
Professionally as well.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about this whole concept of man drought in Sydney.
It's true.
Really? Do you think there's a... Why? I did hear a good joke about that once, but you know.
God, I want to hear it.
Oh, no, the running joke was that... I'm going to ruin it now, forget the joke. That men are like car parks in Sydney. Single men are like car parks in Sydney. They're either married...
Full.
Taken.
They're taken.
Or disabled. Or gay. No, or gay. There were 4 different choices. And so the women
How's
were
a car
saying...
park gay?
Maybe it was just disabled.
Are you pleased you brought this up now?
I'm so pleased I regarded that joke. Yeah. I'll think of it later and tell you what it should have been. But anyway, so the point is there's long been a running joke in Sydney that there is a serious...
Well, you've got to look at our industries as well. I mean, I'm an interior designer. Glynis is in media, and we just find that the circles that we travel in and the places that we go. I'm in a hospitality design industry. You don't really meet that many new people. You meet the same people, and you've got your great core friends that you spend all your free time with, and you don't get the chance to actually venture out and meet new people.
What about you two guys? I mean, there's obviously not... Is there a woman drought in Melbourne? Or did you just find yourself single at the time that this came up?
Yeah, and it sort of just came around. But I think it's about opportunity as well. Like, you know, it's kind of like what Rach was saying. Sort of, you hang with your own friends, and it's sort of sometimes it's a bit... You don't broaden outside of that. And then something like this comes along, and yeah, you get an opportunity to meet other people, and it's great.
The whole
yeah.
group was great.
So the concept of a blind date wasn't scary for anyone? And I'll fess up, because I met my husband on a blind date, so I'm a big fan of the blind date.
You're a success.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a success, yeah.
How blind were you? What did you go through? So you went to the National Gallery. There are a number of events organised.
Yeah, and it was
So you didn't get to choose the event. They were all chosen.
No, it was all chosen. And there were a bunch of very, very nervous girls backstage, which was very before we went. Oh, that's good to know. and we're all kind of, you know, feisty girls, and yet we got waiting to meet our guys, and we're like, oh God.
Did you find you were looking, going, oh, I hope I get that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you get the one you were pointing at?
It was pretty well matched up, I think.
So you've had, according to my notes, there are 2 organised dates. One of which you've had. There's another on the July the 4th. I think
That's
you're going
a new batch.
Different group.
Oh, it's a new batch. Okay.
Number 5. We're glad we went first, just so that there wasn't any expectations.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you've had what, the one date?
Well, we've had the second date.
You've all had a second date. So it kind of went well then.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of under a bit of pressure with photographers floating around. No, photographers floating around on the night and everything like that. So it's hard to sort of, you know...
Relax.
Yeah, relax. So I think we all went out on Sunday night separately again and, you know, hung out and got to know each other a bit better. So, yeah.
We've at least made new friends. That's you know, definitely.
Oh, come on, let's not do that. I think there's sparks.
I think.
There are sparks flying here, aren't there? Well, okay, these guys are a bit to it. All right, cough it up, Jason Glynis.
We had a very nice second date, because we went to Taxi for the first day, which was, I mean, amazing.
It's a restaurant.
Yeah, you know, in Federation Square, and I'd never been there. I sort of think of Federation Square as more kind of like bars and busy, but you go upstairs into that amazing restaurant and that incredible food, and we had the full degustation. It was quite amazing. And but then the thing was, we went from that very kind of high-pressure date to then Jason said, well, look, do you want to come and have a faux beef noodle soup the next night? And so we went to one of his favourite places, so off the radar.
So who made the choice of the venues then for dinner?
It was all pre-arranged.
Right. Okay, so he didn't have any choice
But
about
it was fantastic. I mean,
all great restaurants. Like I was looking through the list, and it was just like every restaurant was like, wow.
Yeah, we went to Maha, which is really
delicious.
Yeah, it was great.
Great food.
So should this go well? Should this go further? Should you become, you know, established couples? What happens then? Do you move from Sydney to Melbourne, or do you guys move from Melbourne to Sydney?
Set up camp in Canberra.
Or a lot of frequent
Yeah,
flights.
Canberra, what happened with the capital, you know, the Sydney and Melbourne rivalry, so Canberra it is.
Oh, you've discussed this already.
Bought property.
I was born in Canberra.
Yeah. We've
How
organised all the...
have you found Melbourne as well?
I'm a big fan anyway. I love Melbourne. I've been coming for years, and I just think it's an amazing city. I really adore it.
Does it have so much more or so much extra to offer, or something different to offer necessarily?
It's something different.
As a CBD, Melbourne City is second to none in the world.
So you girls weren't tempted to go north to Brisbane? Because there are some lovely boys in Brisbane.
Are you from Brisbane?
Well, I lived there for a very long time, and lovely boys up there.
I'm sure they are. It's the culinary culture here, the hospitality. It's actually the friendliest city. You walk down the street and you find people will talk to you. You know, you go into a retail store and you don't get any sort of attitude, or, you know, it's a really...
And that's not the case in Sydney?
Not always, no. You know, it's not just once or twice that I've been here. It's many times, and every time I just keep coming back to Sydney saying, you know, the hospitality is great.
There you go. Well, let's sure to fire up a few emails. Let us know what you're thinking. Thanks so much and best of luck.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Look
Thank
forward
you
to
for your
the
time this morning.
engagement. Now here's Shane.